Yeah. Um, I don't know. I need internet connection to get my slides. So yeah. So about myself, my name is Desmond Obisi. So I contribute at Flank Source, the Ansible, and of course Chaos project. So I'm a developer advocate and developer experience engineer. So I love toying with developer tools, like anything that makes developers' life easy. So I like advocating for them and building them as well. And I'm a technical author. I've authored some blog posts, some articles, and I write the technical documentations for most of the open source projects I contribute to. And I'm a speaker as well. I've spoke at a handful of events as well. So that's about me. So yeah, this is what we're talking about today. Um, streamlining your DevOps workflow with Ansible AWS. So we'll get to know what Ansible AWS is, and we'll see like the key features, how to get started, and then like how automation really works with this tool I'm talking about, and then how you can handle your playbooks. If you are familiar with Ansible, you know what playbooks are, right? And then integrating it with other tools, and then best practices for using it, common challenges, and also like it has advantages and it has disadvantages as well. So yeah, then any question and answer follows. So introduction, like in today's world, as software development is like on the rise, most everything is becoming like a software. Everything is being automated. Everything is being digitized, right? So there is like a need for like a nice workflow as well that automates all of these little tasks here and there. So let's say you want to have a pipeline when you make changes to your code and you push it. You want a pipeline where it will take that changes you make and put it in a particular environment where you test it and perform other tasks before you push it to the one the users have to consume, right? So, and all those piece of tasks here and there. So that's why like DevOps is very important in software engineering. It's not something you can rule out, right? And then we have tools that makes this whole workflow very easy for us. So we're talking about AWX. It's like an open source automation platform that will help us with this streamlining. So AWS, Ansible AWS is like an open source web-based interface for managing playbooks, inventories, and scheduled jobs on Ansible. So it is designed to be like a more user-friendly and not like more of a CLI thing, right? So you can see whatever you're doing from a dashboard. You can get analytics. You can see a job that is running. You can see a job that's failed, and like you can get like more information, right? Instead of having to deal with CLI. And also, it's open source, so you don't have to need the automation platform like licensed software to get to use Ansible as well. So yeah, so let's talk about the key features. So you have automation. I've talked about it. So it helps you to automate like repetitive tasks, manual tasks, and reduce human error and all that. So scalability. So you don't need to manually handle all your playbooks. Maybe you have like a large team where different people write different playbooks. So you can actually manage everything from a single point, a single dashboard, all those stuff. And as your application grows, as automation in the application also grows, it's like grow with it, like it's scalable, right? And then, like I said, you can collaborate. So there is like a role-based access control. You can add people, you can create like a team, add other people in that particular AWS. And then people can collaborate together. You can see what other people, you can see the playbooks other people are writing. You can see the job they are scheduling. And maybe as an engineering manager or a team lead, you can like um, kind of have the overview of the team's effort towards DevOps from there. So it's open source, meaning it's like available. You can clone it, customize it to maybe your use, add some plugins you might want that is not there, and it's like it has a vibrant community that supports it. Then GUI for control, like I said, you don't have to deal with the CLI every time. So when you need like a something you can look at, a graphical design, a dashboard, and all that. So it has like a GUI where you can control stuff, monitor stuff, and have a look at stuff. Then you can use it for like reporting and analytics. So if you want to, at the end of a month or a sprint or a cycle, to know how far your automations are going, which one failed, like what's the success to failure ratio. If you want to get all those reports and analytics, right, the dashboard is like a good place for you to get that from. So yeah, so getting started. So there are many ways to run AWS, but the one I'll be showing us is actually running it on a Linux distribution. So, but you can also like run it on Docker. You can run it on Kubernetes engine as well. So you can run it in various environments. So running AWS in Ubuntu distribution. So first of all, you have to like update, get like the updates and whatever. So you have to like run this update command, which I know everybody is familiar with. This sudo apt get updates. So then after that, you install like Docker Compose basically if you don't have that already. So and then you install some packages for running Ansible itself and AWS software. That's the second part. And also, like you have to, yeah, Docker Compose. Okay, let's talk about Docker Compose. Then download the package installer. So the AWS itself, so you can download it from their GitHub archive. So like a zip file, then you can unzip it in a directly on your machine. Exactly. So you can generate like a secret key that you will need later for like to set up the AWS platform. So so that I say it has like a role access based stuff. So not everybody can log into the dashboard. Not everybody can have access to some certain things. So you have to like set up a root user and all that. So after that, you have to like update some variables, right? So you have to go to the file you cloned and you have unzipped actually, and then go to this particular folder called installer. So you have to update this variable, like the pgadmin for Postgres, and then the admin user, and then the admin password. So you can set up the password like the admin should use to get access, and then the secret key you generate at this step, and then you run this so you run the installation file. So mind you, what we downloaded initially is like the package itself, so we have not like run the installation. So all these setups comes before running the installation, and when we do, you have to like run the Docker instance to get the IP of the Docker image, right? So from there, with the Docker URL, you can get access to this dashboard. So this is like the AWS welcome screen. So you use the admin username you created while performing the installation and the password and login. So when you log in, you get the screen like this. So these are the GUI I'm talking about. So from here, you can schedule jobs. From here, you can see inventories, your playbooks, like how they perform. If you can look here, you can see like analytics and performance of job status and all that. So yeah, so you can automate your tasks with these two I'm talking about. And all these things are free of charge, right? So you don't have to pay for anything. It's open source. So you can create as much playbooks as you want. So an example playbook. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So an example playbook is something like this. So if you want to execute a particular command, this is like an example of a playbook, right? So you can write this and save, and you can manage it from here. You can manage it from this dashboard. So whenever maybe your application needs to use any of these playbooks, you should be able to see whether this job that these playbooks like started failed, whether it's passed, and you can get like all analytics or all insights you need to get. Then you can use it to create inventory. So inventory is like a list where you manage some kind of a constants or yeah, some constants in your project, things that doesn't really change, but then you need to like manage all of them from one place. Maybe something like saving all these environmental secrets and variables. Yeah, so you can also like create inventory, variable groups. I first call them variable groups, right? Inventory. So where you can store those variables as well. So yeah, so integrating with other tools. So you can integrate AWX with other tools like GitHub, like Jenkins, and maybe any tool you can think of, right? Since since this is open source, you can actually integrate it with other tools. You can configure it to work with other tools maybe you are using for your DevOps project or workflows. So it similarly works with other tools and you can plug them in and common challenges for these two. Okay, likewise, the way it has its what they call it advantages. So some of the disadvantages like there is no really maybe standard support for AWS. So when I mean standard support, I mean the way when you pay for the automation platform, like you get first-hand support from the Ansible team when anything goes wrong. This is open source, right? You might get support, but not immediately, right? So there's no standardized support for AWS and it's prone to security issue, right? Because of course it's open source. The guy that gave a talk here earlier talked something about security and all that. So and it's very like common in open source software. And then maybe if they push a new feature to Tower, you might not get it immediately on AWS. So there's no really sync between the two software. So these are the drawbacks you might experience. But then overall, it's like a great tool to manage your workflows and DevOps systems. So conclusion, I don't know, I've introduced you to AWX Ansible for managing your workflow. So if you have any questions, if you have any challenges using AWX, I mean, you can always reach out to me and you can always like maybe hit me up to learn more about AWS. I work with the AWS team like at Ansible. I contribute to their documentation. I contribute to like many things at AWS project itself. So if you want to learn anything more on how you can maybe get more usage out of AWS, you can always reach out to me. So there are many benefits to it, right? You can improve your workflow efficiency, manage infrastructure, manage your teams, like get an overview of what is really happening in your DevOps workflow and integrate any other tools you might want to integrate also as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for your time and thank you everyone. Yeah, if you have any question. If you have any question, you can ask. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Desmond, so I'm not the DevOps person. Yeah, I'm more of the Java guy. So I'm trying to get interested into DevOps. And there's this feature that AWS has where you kind of like schedule uh, jobs to withdraw money at certain points in time. Now, implementing that in code, for those of us who write like code and everything, it means it's really kind of messy. Yeah, doing it in code. Can Ansible and Ansible AWS, you understand, pretty much help with something like that?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So in your software system, so there should be like maybe a part of the system that handles what do you call it queues, or maybe I don't know whether people use queues or people like push yeah cron job, yeah queues, message queues, and
Cron jobs kind of like messy because you
yeah
have so many cron jobs. So you're having it, like let's say PDVS now,
yeah
scaled down can have like 1,000 users.
yeah
Setting safe locks for different safe logs. Let's say one user having at least, or let's scale it down. One user having at most two safe logs. Now, if you're having 1,000 users, you're having 22,000 safe logs. And that means 2,000 code jobs. Let's see. So
Yeah.
imagine the number of comments you're running.
Yeah. So there is, I think there is what they call, that's what they call like collection in Ansible, right? So that's what they call collection. So if there is a playbook that you know that is reusable, I use every time, you can always save it as a collection, right? So I think with that collection, you can like help with that like number of jobs running at the same time. All right. So yeah. So with Ansible collection, you can actually like handle things at scale like that. So you don't have to like be writing a particular playbook every time. So because you use it every time, you store it as a collection. Maybe call it cron job for so and so activity. So you know that this thing happens over time. So save it as a collection. So whenever maybe you now set an event that triggers it every time. Exactly. So yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for your. So I have two questions.
Yep.
Open source version and app.
Yeah.
That's the paid one.
Yeah.
So now, you said to. Okay, let me ask. Are there major differences, like real major differences between this open source? Because you can't expect an enterprise, especially security issues,
Yeah.
to use AWX open source compared to the paid one that Ansible does. So are
Yeah.
there major differences between AWX and Ansible? That's the first one.
Okay. The second one.
Okay, so the second one is if the differences are not too major. I'm currently working on the free trial article. No, it's paid, but like
Mm.
after 60 days. So if the tower allows you, like gives you this platform, this UI, or the UI is even different from what you're showing, very
Yeah.
different from the
Yeah.
Ansible. So if it gives you this platform to see, like let's say I'm running 20 jobs and I'm seeing it like, so what is the at the end of the day, what's the value? Let's assume there's something wrong with the jobs or one is not going properly. Like so I was thinking of doing an alert system or something, like connect it to Grafana or something. But it has been very difficult. There's no Ansible plugin in Grafana. Okay, I was like, okay, let me use a third party, let me connect it to something, then connect that one to Ansible. I tried Elasticsearch, I tried like what is really the value? Do you get? How do I get notifications or how do I use this platform other than just seeing my jobs or just running? That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
speaking from the monitoring perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So for the first part, there is a yeah. That's a nice question. So for the first part, first question. So AWX and Tower are the difference is very big, and not too big, but yeah, there is a clear difference between the two software. Yeah. Yeah, so no. Yeah, you're paying for something, of course, but most times what you pay for is actually support, first-hand support, first-hand updates. Like, so if you request for a feature, it will first come in Tower before it comes to here, right? If anything happens to Tower, it will first receive like first-hand support before even AWS, right? So, and yeah, there are other features too that are on Tower that you can't get on AWS, right? Yeah, so AWS is actually for maybe you're an indie developer, you don't have money to get a automation platform. You can use it to like manage, and then if you feel like you're up to the task, you can also like get the open source code and hack a few things by yourself. An organization can actually clone the AWS repo, and from it they can build like a standardized what they call it, DevOps tool for themselves. I mean, okay, they don't want to pay for AWS Tower, but they can get the AWS open source version and then build on that, right? So enterprise can still use it. So if they have like solid engineers that knows open source well. They can also clone the AWS open source and then build extra features that they want to see. Maybe the one you can't even see on Tower, but then they are using it in-house and it's private to them. So those are like the two differences between the two software. Yeah, and for the second question, what do you ask me? Sorry, mine. Yeah? Yeah, yeah. Okay, monitoring. Yeah. So I can't say. I can't say. I can't say about that one. Like, yeah, honestly. I can't say. Yeah. Mm.
Okay, so because okay, we just
I'm a
basically just
contributor.
contribute. Because we just got this and suggestion that contribution. So it's not even as if I've paid. I've not paid. I'm currently on the trial version. Let me use the trial version and see what value this is giving me. And then to be honest, I'm not disappointed. That's it.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm not on the tower team. I'm on the open source team. Yeah, yeah, okay. I'm on the open source team, so I don't know what happens at tower.
So I think that fundamentally, Ansible and Ansible Tower and all these things, they are configuration management tools
Yeah.
fundamentally. So yeah, you use it to automate something that so as far as notifications, I'm sure that there will be some way to let you know that the job has been. But the thing is, it is not the CAI. So if you're building software, you're building an app or something like that, there are tools for that. The important thing is to know which tool, what you're actually expecting from this tool, what it's supposed to do for you. You understand? So configuration management tools are just that. You understand? They are for that. They are not for building pipelines and developing applications. I think if you look at it that way, you would then know exactly. Because normally, once you're on the console, and before have reason to leave the console, you have seen which job as good. You really don't even need to. And the beautiful thing about Tower and AWX is it's just giving you a UI. That's really the whole thing. Ideally, you run your AWS, I mean your Ansible code on the CL. You understand? So that's expectation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. And also, I've not experimented on it before, but I feel for your notification, right? I feel there is a way you can take this open source code. Maybe you can do a GitHub application, connect it to this Ansible. If something fails, the GitHub app will pick the event and then run something that sends a message. Maybe you connect something else. I mean, you can just play around with OSS, open source. So if that's what you want, right? Yeah. So yeah, but it's something that is very very feasible. It's something that is very very feasible. I've done something like that, though not with Ansible, right? Though not with Ansible. I did like a monitoring and an incident alert to. I plug in Twilio to the login management system we use. So whenever those critical events occur in your APIs, I get like a WhatsApp message immediately. So I mean, can play around. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just wanted to get clear on something. So, in order for this Ansible task to run various or monitor various jobs, um, basically, what is more or less okay? I understand that under the code, it must be a service principal or service identifier that actually gives you access to run these things. Now, at introducing this tool into this, does it pretty much give you security vulnerability? Having a service principal, having access to every of your jobs that are running, or it's just hitting one particular source that actually has access to various. Like basically, in terms of security, how does this? Because it has a dashboard for everything running within your
Yeah.
within your infrastructure, basically every job running. So there must be elevated privilege for you to retrieve data from that stuff or processes. So I want to know what regarding security works.
Okay. So So if you notice when we are doing installation, we install Ansible. It's still running Ansible, right? It's just like the more normal way you run Ansible, but then you have a AWS is a UI where you see all those stuff that is happening. All those stuff you normally do on the CLI, right? So it's still pretty much running Ansible the normal way you use an Ansible to do your stuff.
So you can't get this more than like you can't run multiple pipelines and then retrieve data on those multiple pipelines. So you run it Ansible. Like from what I see here, it's just like you have a single repository, you have a single playbook that is running, and then we are checking, okay, how many jobs were successful and how many jobs failed.
Yeah.
We are not like running different concurrent jobs in different pipelines, running different playbooks,
Okay.
and having a dashboard to check each pipeline, the jobs, the playbooks, and
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Of course, from here you can see you can create as much this thing, playbooks, inventories, whatever, jobs, and you can schedule as much jobs as you can. As I say, you can integrate it to maybe your GitHub repository, right? So you can get the like stuff as maybe when you make a pull or something, the jobs triggers or the jobs start running.
so you can create multiple roles.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So any other question?
This kind of different parts. So how do you get this so no different parts at the same time? Is it one
Interface.
yes.
Yeah, sure. So,
So have the pipeline so that rather than this microservices
okay, okay. Oh,
yes.
yeah. So the one I demonstrated, right, is the one like installed. When you're talking about microservice, you're talking of something deployed to maybe Kubernetes or something deployed to cloud, right? So there is they call it AWX operator. So normally operator is like how do I say it? How you interact, like a tool you can use to interact with your deploy Kubernetes deployment, right? So without operator, and AWS like kind of created something they call AWX operator that can you can use also to deploy and monitor deploy AWS to your cluster. So you can deploy it to any of the cluster. Since they are microservice, they have different clusters, right? So you can deploy each cluster just have one AWS basically. So I don't know if there is like a central deployment that can manage all your cluster. I don't have idea about that, but I know you can deploy to a particular cluster and manage whatever jobs that is running on that particular cluster. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. All right. I think that should be the end. Thank you very much. Thank you.